Hello everyone and welcome to more Political Excess. Today let's do another weekly poll recap. There's about 1 month to go. Everybody's starting to pay attention to politics. Things could change in the closing weeks. And let's get on Real Clear Politics and see what's happened over the past few days. First up, we've got a poll from Emerson for Iowa U.S. Senate and Governor. And that was with 959 likely voters. And for Senate, that has Chuck Grassley up 11, 49 to 38 over Mike Franken. And for Governor, Kim Reynolds, she's up pretty big there, 17 points, 53 to 36 over Deidre DeGier. So it does seem like Reynolds is running ahead of Grassley, and Grassley is probably poised for one of the weakest margins of his career, but he still does not appear in any actual danger of losing that seat. I would be surprised though if Kim Reynolds won by 17. That does seem a little bit high. She would really be winning over some of the Democrats there if she won by that much. Next, we've got a poll from Data for Progress. It's a Democratic pollster for U.S. Senate and Governor for Colorado. That was with just over 1,000 likely voters, as Michael Bennet up 9, 50 to 41 over Joe O'Dea, and Jared Polis, he's up 17, 56 to 39 over Heidi Ganahl. This might be a poll to look a little bit more into the crosstabs and take a look at sample sizes, but I definitely expect both of them to win. Probably Polis would be under 15 points, I would say. Bennet, it could be mid-single digits, but the 9 points isn't really that too far out of what I'm expecting. Next, we've got our first poll for Rhode Island Governor from Roger Williams. I believe that is a university there. And this was taken with only 402 likely voters, so not really that huge of a sample size, but it does show the incumbent Democrat, Dan McKee. He's up 13 points, 45 to 32 over Ashley Kalus. So that's not great for McKee, only being in the mid-40s. But it's also not great for Kalus. She's only at 32. If she wants to make something happen, it's going to have to be pretty soon. There is a possibility in this kind of environment that the Republican could win here, but if I had to bet, I would bet against it. There's also a poll for that 2nd congressional district. That has Alan Fung up 6 points, 46 to 40 over Seth Magaziner. Now the problem here with this poll is it only has 254 in its sample size of likely voters. That's a 6.2% margin of error. So that is a boon for Fung, but the low sample size and the high margin of error makes me not have a whole lot of confidence in this. But this isn't the first poll that does show the Republican in the lead, so maybe that district is actually trending toward the right, and Fung might get it done in the end. Next, we've got another House poll. This time in California's 21st district, it is from Trafalgar, 515 likely voters, and that shows a tied race, 44 apiece between Jim Costa, the incumbent Democrat, and Michael Maher, the Republican challenger. This is surprising because last time Costa won by over 18 points. I know there was redistricting, but still, this is a fairly blue district. It's hard to imagine there being that much of a swing. You might dismiss this as just a Trafalgar outlier. That's definitely possible. But it's at least enough to make you want to take a second look at this 21st district. Back on Thursday, we've got some CNN polls for Nevada Senate and Governor, and that shows Adam Laxalt up 2 points, 48 to 46 over Catherine Cortez Masto. And for Governor, Joe Lombardo is up 2 also, 48 to 46 over Steve Sisolak, the incumbent. The polls in recent weeks have shifted toward the Republicans a little bit. They do seem to have a tilt kind of advantage, possibly even a lean in some of these polls. I've always given a slight edge to Laxalt, but Lombardo actually might be poised to take out Sisolak. I'm still waiting until the very end on this because I think Nevada could possibly be underestimating some Democratic support. And in Nevada, you can vote for none of these candidates, so that's a little bit of another X factor. But these aren't the only polls that have showed the Republicans ahead, so that does not bode well for the Democrats heading into the final few weeks. And for Arizona, we've got more CNN polls with 1,164 likely voters. That has Mark Kelly up 6 points, 51 to 45 over Blake Masters. And it has Katie Hobbs up 3, 49 to 46 over Carrie Lake. This is a little bit of a shift back toward the Democrats in this poll, as most of the polls seem to have trended toward the Republicans in the last couple of weeks. There was a U.S. Senate debate the other day. I did watch it. It's possible that could shake things up. It could give Masters a little bit more momentum now that voters have had a chance to see him on stage. So let's hope to get some more polls for Arizona next week. Here's another Minnesota governor's poll from Survey USA. Shows Tim Walz up very comfortably, 10 points, 50 to 40 over Scott Jensen. And for whatever reason, it seems like these Minnesota governor polls are a little bit all over the place. I'd like to see some different polling firms get in there, maybe Emerson, because I'm not really sure what kind of a margin Tim Walz is working with. I think he's favored, but I don't think it's by 10 points anymore. Next, we've got a poll out of New York, again from Trafalgar, and it shows a very close race. Kathy Hochul is only up 2 points, 45-43 over Lee Zeldin. This is surprising, as whatever other polls out of New York have been well into double digits, 15 points or more. If you hate Trafalgar, you're going to dismiss this on its face. It's possible the race is closer than these other polls. It's hard to imagine Zeldin getting it under 5 points. I would think he still has a good chance to get it under 10 points. But also, if you click on that Trafalgar poll, they did poll the Attorney General's race, and that actually shows the Republican Michael Henry with a slight lead over incumbent Democrat Letitia James. So if the election were held right now, Trafalgar would either look like complete heroes or complete idiots. Back on Wednesday, we've got a Florida governor's poll that shows Ron DeSantis up 11, 52-41 over Charlie Crist. They had a hurricane recently that's likely to be beneficial for DeSantis. He gets to be the hero during the tragedy, but I don't think he really needed it. I think he was going to win by at least 5 points as it is, but now it's possible double digits is on the table at this point. Next, from Insider Advantage and Survey USA, they both polled the Georgia U.S. Senate race and the Georgia governor's race. There's been a shakeup in that Senate race in Georgia this past week. It's probably bad for Herschel Walker. That could give Warnock a couple of points advantage. Still a few weeks out. Have to see where the dust settles. But this does show Warnock with a 3-point lead and a 12-point lead. That 12-point lead seems like a complete outlier, even considering everything I just said. And it also does show Brian Kemp for governor. He's up 5 and 2 points over Stacey Abrams. Not a big shock there. Kemp is favored to win. Here's another poll for Senate and governor in Arizona from CBS News YouGov with 1,164 likely voters. That shows Mark Kelly up 3 points, 51-48 over Blake Masters, and a tie in the governor's race, 49 apiece between Kari Lake and Katie Hobbs. Again, both of these races seem close. I would give an edge to Kari Lake, and I would give an edge to Mark Kelly. But we've got to see some post-debate polling. Hopefully this next week we'll get some of that. Next, from New Hampshire, we've got a U.S. Senate poll. Maggie Hassan is up 6 points, 49-43 over Don Bolduc. That seems pretty much what we're expecting. It looks like a mid-single-digit win for Hassan. It could get down to 3 or 4 points even, or it could get up to maybe 7 or 8 for Hassan. I can't say Don Bolduc is out of it. It could be a vote that's not being polled, and there's a surge at the end, and Bolduc could pull it out by half a point. But Hassan is favored in that one. For governor, Chris Sununu is up 16 points, 50-34 over Tom Sherman. That completely makes sense. Sununu is going to win big there. And in the 1st and 2nd congressional districts, Democrats are up pretty big here. Chris Pappas, 8 points, 49-41 over Caroline Leavitt. In that 2nd district, Custer is up 14, 49-35 over Robert Burns. Either the Republicans are completely collapsing in both of these congressional districts, or there could be a little bit of an oversampling toward the Democrats. But it's possible there's been some sort of a scandal or local news that I haven't picked up on, and that's what's causing these skewed results. Here's a Vermont governor's poll. Phil Scott is up 17 points, 48-31 over Brenda Siegel. Nothing to say about that one either. Phil Scott, he's going to cruise to re-election there. And let's look at Tuesday. Here's a Florida U.S. Senate poll from Mason-Dixon again. Marco Rubio is up 6, 47-41 over Val Demings. That's probably close to accurate, or possibly even underestimating Rubio by a couple of points. Here's some Pennsylvania Senate and governor's polls. John Fetterman, he's up 6, 46-40 over Dr. Oz. And for governor, Josh Shapiro, he's up 11 points, 48-37 over Doug Mastriano. So based on just the polling, it does seem like the governor's race is slipping away from the Republicans, and the Senate race is tightening up to where the Republicans actually have a shot at it now. There's a bunch of different factors that go into both of these races. I think they're highly intriguing to watch. It's going to be hard to predict. I do want to see debates, preferably multiple debates. I think the final 2 weeks is going to be where everything's going to happen in Pennsylvania. Here's a North Carolina Senate poll. Ted Budd is only up 1 point, 43-42 over Sherry Beasley. I think Budd is going to win that probably by 3 or 4 points. There's a lot of undecideds in that poll, so we will see what happens. Here's a poll out of Oregon for governor from Emerson. That's a 3-way race, and it shows the Republican Christine Drazan up 2 points, 36-44 over Tina Kotek. Betsy Johnson, the independent, is at 19 points. I watched that debate as well. That's another great race to follow. The real question is how much of that vote is Betsy Johnson going to siphon off of Tina Kotek? And are those voters going to come home to the Democrat in the end if they see Christine Drazan with a lead? Or are they going to stick with Betsy Johnson and they're done with the Democrats, at least for this election cycle? The rest of these polls you can take a look at if you'd like. But from Emerson, Ron Wyden is up huge, 19 points in that U.S. Senate race. For the Senate in Washington, I know people are looking at that race. Patty Murray, she's up 9 points, 51 to 42. Trafalgar, they pulled the U.S. Senate race in New Hampshire. That has Maggie Hassan up 3 points in that one. Data for Progress also pulled it. Hassan is up 7. Down here is Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. She's up huge, 18 points over Tudor Dixon, 50 to 32. That is surprising to see these huge margins for Michigan Governor. And last, for California Governor, Newsom is up 21 points, 53 to 32 over Brian Dahle. And then I'll switch over here to 538. They have some more U.S. House races you can look at if you want to see some more local elections. A lot of these are internal polls from the campaigns. The margins of error are higher, so take some of these with a grain of salt, but they're all here if you want to take a look. So another week is in the books. We've started to see some debates, and it's really going to ramp up here in the final 4 weeks. So let me know in the comments down below. Have any of these polls changed anything for you in any of these races? And if you enjoy this channel, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.